Hey community, welcome back, and if this is your first time here, I'm Dr. Blaire, a doc in clinical psychology, and on this channel we discuss psychology, inspiration, social justice, and all topics in between. First things first, hit that subscribe and bell button. I want to see you back next week, and of course, stay tuned because we're going to start a new topic, and I am excited. Keep watching. All right, so last week we started this conversation about a mental health day, ways that it's being used, what's the purpose of it, why are we needing this, how can one misuse it, or even how society has cultivated us and socialized us into not necessarily really addressing our mental health. And so I talked about really wanting to present to you all some tips on how you can truly address your mental health and on these mental health days, and not just allow for it to be another day that is kind of wasted. And so let's get down to the root of what's really going on. Okay, so here are a few tips, and if you didn't catch all of those things, go ahead and catch the video from last week and it'll catch you up to speed and return back here, and then you'll at least kind of know the background of where we left off. And now we're going to launch forward into this conversation about some tips on how you can handle a mental health day. Mental health days actually is required for you to address your mental health. So I think that it would be helpful that as you're preparing to take a mental health day or days, that you take a moment during that day or prior to that day to really sit down and think about what are areas around your mental health that is in grave need. Are you noticing that you feel a little bit more tense than usual? Are you having some emotional responses that you don't usually have? Sit down and reflect on what is at the root of that. Is it that you are feeling more stressed? Are you feeling more worried? Are you feeling more sad? Are you feeling more angry? And why are you feeling that way? If you are saying like, you know what, it's not really how I feel, maybe it's more so what you're doing, your behavior. And if that's the case, okay, let's talk about these changed behaviors that you don't necessarily want to see. But at the end of the day, it comes back to a root. And so when you are able to identify what that is and go as deep as you can, sometimes it requires multiple times to kind of continue to peel back a layer. That's fine. Peel back those layers and spend time really getting as deep down into what is really happening for you. All right, now let's say that you spent some time and you went as deep as you could on your own, or maybe you're already engaged in therapy and you spent that time with your therapist. Awesome. Whatever the case may be and how you were able to get to that root, some of you might sit down and spend time with Holy Spirit to get down to that. And I thoroughly encourage that, to pray, sit down and pray about what the root of this is. And after you have gotten to the root of it, you might notice that there are multiple friction points or fracture points that highlight where it's going, what is going the opposite direction that you desire in your life. And so you may have a list of 3 things that you're like, you know what, these are top priority. Instead of focusing on 3 things in one day, I would encourage you just to narrow the list down to 1. And you might narrow the list down to 1 for 2 different reasons. 1, it might be because it's top priority, or 2, you might choose one of those things on your list because it is obtainable to do within a day. For example, if someone is having, and I used this example the last video, but let's kind of expound on it a bit more. If someone is having difficulty sleeping, there are an array of reasons of why someone might have difficulty sleeping, whether they're having difficulty staying asleep, they are, waking up frequently throughout the night, they're having difficulty going to sleep, or even waking up earlier than usual. Nonetheless, this all impacts their quality of mood. And what they are seeing is on the top of the surface, they are more agitated, they're a bit more short, they're having difficulty focusing. And so when it gets down to it, they need some sleep. Now the question is, why is their sleep so disruptive? Are they going to bed too late? Are they, not winding down before they go to bed? But let's say for this person, it's getting down to the point that their quality of sleep has decreased because they are racing thoughts at night. They are sitting there thinking about everything that they need to do for the next day. Let's peel back another layer. If they're thinking about all of the things they need to do the next day and worrying about that, it may indicate that they're overwhelmed about some things. And these are leading to some anxious type of thoughts. They're worried that some of these things will not be accomplished. Excuse me. So if that's the case, let's get down to maybe this person might feel less overwhelmed if they were to organize their day. Well, that could be a mental health day. Not only that they work on organizing their week or their day, but then also see what it would take to do some relaxation techniques before they go to sleep, and see if then their sleep improves, because their mind might come a little bit more to a resting space after engaging in relaxation techniques, and then also after organizing their day so their mind isn't racing as much. This is just an example. As I've said plenty of times before, there's an array of reasons that one might have difficulty or one might have options on their list of what are problems for them. But this is up to you to prioritize what is top priority and or what is obtainable. You may have something that is top priority, but you may not be able to accomplish it in the one day or the multiple days that you have taken off. So do something that allows for you to feel like you're making some movement closer toward where you want to go. Or else, what was the mental health day for? You want to make some progress here. All right, so after you have done this, right, you've sat down, you've prioritized, or you've decided that this is accomplishable in a day, then you go for it in a day and commit to following through on this plan, following through on actually zoning in on this particular area for your mental health. After your mental health day and you zoned in on this area, it is up to you to continue that pattern for a month until you see that the results have yielded that you actually yielded to the results that you're wanting to see. You've gotten your desired results. You cannot stop and think that one mental health day is going to balance everything out. As I said in the last video, again, we cannot say I'm going to eat unhealthy for months and I'm just going to choose one day. I'm going to eat salads all day long, fruit all day long, water all day long, and after that I'm back healthy. No, it doesn't work that way. We have to stay consistent with it so that the next time you have a mental health day, you can go back to that list and cross it off and start another area that you need to focus on. And if you think about it, you might need to put yourself on a mental health day once a quarter or once every 2 months. Who knows? I don't know. You have to decide that for yourself. But sometimes it's helpful for people to know, and it can be motivating for people to know that you have this coming every once in a while. Just like for people who have very intense lives, they might need to schedule their rest periods where they're going to have 3 days consecutively where they don't do anything. Or maybe every once in a while you decide, I need to take a trip out of the country or a trip out of my city so that I can have a moment to unplug and to really just kind of debrief and relax. You can do the same thing for your mental health day. So I go back to what I was saying in the last video. I'm not against it. I'm just against how it's being misused and how it is being presented in society. And so I would love if we can repackage mental health day for what it actually is supposed to be for, and that we utilize it in that way so that we can see the results that are needed to be seen. And again, as y'all already know, you do this for yourself and we start to all do this individually, we will see this reflected in our community. And as I mentioned in the last video, if you had not already snagged your video, oh my goodness, y'all, long day. If you have not snagged your ticket for the Battlefield conference, I'm going to encourage you to do it again. Again, our seating is limited. As you see, I did these recordings back to back, so this was all in the same setting. So the next week, tickets are out or really low. I'm happy that that's the case, that people are registering, but also wish that you would join us. So please don't wait till late. Don't wait till the last minute to register and get your seat. And the information is right here at the bottom of the screen and also in the description box. There are options for groups and also discounted options for people who might want to come in pairs. And nonetheless, we're looking forward to seeing y'all there. Our team has really been revving up and prepping. We've already started our fasting and we've been in prayer, and we are anticipating great moves of God to be there, to be on site with us. And so don't miss an opportunity to come and have conversations like this in person and to have it more in depth. What I do here on these public platforms are really only to a certain extent, but when we get into a space where we can have some deeper conversations in a more intimate space and actually get some training, you can walk away with some resources and some individualized plans. Again, we're not doing therapy, but we're giving you resources so that you're prepared for what you're currently experiencing and also what is to come. So again, expecting to see you there. Like, comment, subscribe, and share with your community, and be sure to share with someone specific who needs to hear more about a mental health day. And of course, before you go, and I see you next week, if I'm great and you're great, then we're a great community.